Hello, everyone. So, what a week. Um, let's just get straight into it. I was at TennoCon this weekend, and you probably can guess then what I'm going to cover. And you might be thinking, why was I not covering TennoCon on the days of TennoCon? Well, because I was at TennoCon and I did not feel like streaming it because that makes things awkward for everybody. So,
I did not want to
uh,
go and do things while there because it would be a little weird.
and I cannot enjoy it as much. If not a dig to you, my audience, but just it just makes everything weird for everybody. If it's like, oh yeah, I'm recording, say hi to the cam. Like,
Yeah.
I
You,
don't know. It
you
just
can't
makes
have as personal conversations and you can't be as yourself. Otherwise, you are freely, openly telling the internet and the rest of the world how you operate and how you do things.
not that we don't already do that part here. It's the
But
first part of that
it's
I'm
not
worried
to
about.
the
The
same
second.
extent as other people. That's the important thing.
I pride ourselves, or at least I pride myself, on the authenticity of this channel, or I'd like to think authenticity. So what you see is what you get. So yeah, it's the first bit I'm worried about, and then the second one. But yeah, so here we are covering TennoCon. I'm gonna be like the 104th person to cover this, and I'm probably not even the most important. Actually, correction, I am definitely not the most important person. So here we go. Let's just roll down the list. Congratulations to everyone who was at the TennoCon. Congratulations to all the cosplay players. Well done. You all did phenomenal. Still love that freaking Manic, that Grenier Manic cosplay. I actually met the cosplayer on the day of, after the fact, because that was all happened on the day before. Absolutely great. It's phenomenal. I think the attempt at a Stalker Daddy costume is interesting, to say the least. Still got a good kick out of that one. The concert was absolutely phenomenal. Just pristine. I was literally talking to somebody up in the racks he literally told me like we went from Songs of Jura, which I think is more operatic, to like screamo by the end. So the range we can get out of this is insane. And while the screamo one was specifically sung, I don't know if it's the proper word in that category of music, but screamed by a different particular vocalist. The most of the actual thing was done by like two people, one female and one male. I think the male was the actual composer too. So the fact that we got one guy who does our composition for this game that has such flipping range is just nuts. I did not even know he was actually the vocalist in online as well. So like I said, the range we have here is just nuts.
It's crazy.
This certainly does not help what I've been hearing in TennoCon now, where it seems that DE has officially fallen into the same category of MiHoYo, where they are just a music company that just claims to make video games. So,
Yes.
you know, there's that. That said, MiHoYo does a lot of stuff out of house, where DE does a lot of stuff in house. So, as you will. Anyways, moving on from the concert itself, which again was great. Actually, side point. Um, it's just shocking this year how everyone was just the site crashed. If you haven't heard, don't feel bad if you couldn't get tickets. Honestly, apparently it was very difficult. I say apparently because I and a few people I talked to did not have problems. Knock on wood for next year. um, because I managed to get myself VIP. And just even getting general admission though was absolute nightmare. I remember just sitting on the website at 11 a.m. because you guys might have heard. I think I guys told. No, I don't think I did tell you guys. I was in the UK at the time when the tickets went live, so I was staying
Yes.
up until like 11 p.m. or something like that, waiting for the tickets to go live. I did it, got them, put them in the cart, bought them. All things went well. I went back to the site to see just how many were still left, just in general, to
Not
see if
many.
VIP had sold out. Not many. They were gone. Just gone. Within like 2 minutes of the site being up. Not even. And the general admissions, there was such a rush on that line apparently that the entire site crashed. It was all being run, granted, through Eventbrite, so maybe that's a dig more to Eventbrite now that I think about it, than DE themselves. I don't think even Eventbrite has ever hosted an event with that craziness behind it, so I don't know. Maybe it's a dig to them. I don't know. But yeah. So like I said, don't feel bad if you wanted to get tickets but couldn't. Honestly, I have it on very good authority that it's been an absolute nightmare this year. Not surprising, considering this was the first Tenno concert that they ever held. This was the 10th anniversary of the actual TennoCon event. So put all that together, it's just absolute balls to the walls insanity. So like I said, don't feel bad if you didn't get tickets. It was a nightmare to even get on the site. So again, I'm told. So yeah, moving right along. The actual stuff itself, though, really interesting. We're starting to get a lot. more Soulframe coming into TennoCon, which isn't surprising considering DE has only really used TennoCon because, Warframe has been their only real thing for the longest time. Now that Soulframe is picking up, it makes sense they're trying to integrate that more in. I think it's been going pretty well. I got some good photos of their little Soulframe Zen room. Might I just say to, I think it was George or Jeff. I can't remember which of you guys is the one who's heading up the audio division, but dang it, you did it again. You did an emotional cutscene. I feel sad. A grown man crying. It happened.
How
I
could
would
you?
confirm or deny if it was me, but it happened. But so yeah, that was completely interesting to see. Like I said, Soulframe definitely seems to be going for a more kind of emotional, kind of. I don't want to say soul because that feels cheesy to say in this context, but it definitely feels like a much more emotional story they're pulling on here, and much more kind of. I want to say human story, so to speak, compared to the more high opera space odyssey nonsense that is Warframe, which I don't even think that's a good comparison at this point, because even the devs have confirmed that nobody knows what the hell Warframe is at this point. I don't remember how many people I've joked with where it's like,
Everyone is a
what
little
is
confused on where it is going and what is it going.
Hey, Rebecca on the stage of Game Awards themselves. This is in recording too. I think it was last year where she went on stage and literally said, "We don't even know at this point. So if the devs don't know, God knows we of the player base have no idea." So
Bear with
that's
us.
on. Bear with us here. If they don't even know, God knows we don't. So yeah. On the topic of Warframe, though, let's start going into some of the things that we saw in the actual big live stream dev thing. Dev stream. Yeah, dev stream of TennoCon, which I may or may not again deny that I did start some chants. The DE chant may or may not have been me. I'd like to think at least. Anyways, but yeah, let's just go straight into the reveals. There's a bunch of stuff that came out of this, honestly. Unlike Soulframe, which was more of an emotional thing, Warframe was just my lore brain going on all cylinders, firing on just all cylinders. My jaw dropped. I was texting a friend of mine after where she's like, insanity. It was nuts. And I'm like, yes, it was. My eyes could not fall out of my head more than they already did. We're going to Tau! We are going to Tau some point in the future, in next year, supposedly. But we are getting kind of like what we had with, I think, Ghosts of not the Ghosts of the Void, with Whispers in the Wall. We're kind of getting a, or not Whispers in the Wall, 1999. We're kind of getting a prelude at the end of this year with the end of this year. I think they said fall was the window they're going for. Going to be the Old Peace expansion, which is going to be us possibly memory sharing, memory reactivating. Not entirely sure on that one. Of us being in Tau, which okay, let me just put this in context of the lore. We actually believe for the longest time in the Warframe community that we've never actually been to Tau. So the Sentients, right? They were sent to Tau to make basically the place livable for the Orokin. As far as we knew in the lore community, that was where it ended. The Sentients went to Tau, got sentient, as in the name, along the way, learned that they were basically sent there to work until they died, said F that, and basically broke all ties with the Orokin and eventually came back with bloody vengeance because they did not like the idea that they were basically being sent on a death mission. That's pretty much where it pretty much ended, as far as I'm aware. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, more insane lore junkies in the comment section. But as far as I know, that's where it ended. We never actually got to Tau. The Sentients did, but then they promptly made sure nobody else could. Turns out that's not true. The Old Peace, again, if it is to be believed, and there's no Eternalism time shenanigans here, we did actually get to Tau. Us personally, too, did get to Tau. And we also got to see what looks to be an old version of Ballas, which confirms that may or may not he had gone through continuity over time, but that's a side point. Yeah, we did get to Tau at some point. We actually get to see what looks to be a war going on between separatists and ourselves, which represent the Orokin Empire at the time. So we get to see and fight alongside, like, Grineer of the day that weren't, clone rotted to hell and back. We get to fight alongside Sentients, who are still working with us at the time, which I didn't think was even a thing. And yeah, that's insane. Also, side note, we actually get to see Caliban Prime teased in the actual mission itself. Apparently, DE has confirmed that Caliban Prime, the first ever true sentient dash Tenno, well, not Tenno, Orokin made Warframe, that was a collaborative effort. The Prime version actually is directly tied to us, presumably, maybe? Might have been something we did, because we get to see him being made, and we get to see one of the, I guess, Cephalons of the day, who I can't remember the name of in the trailer, kind of scoff at it being a waste of Auric and gold. So this is interesting on a side note because, like I said, for the longest time we've had primes. So for those who don't know too much about the prime lore, let me just give you a quick brush course. I'm doing that a lot, it seems, this video, but bear with me. So the primes, right? For the longest time in the early game, we assumed that the primes came first, then the base warframes. We'd assumed that the primes were the OGs, then later on, once the Orkin fell and their technology kind of went to the wayside, that people tried to recreate them. But since they didn't know all the secrets the Orkin did, the ones we get today that are mass-produced, like the base Excalibur, base Mesa, yada yada yada, they were the best we could do. And that is somewhat true. But after they introduced the, I think it was Prime Vault, the Dax soldier who's over in Maru, who does the Aya thing. Again, I can't remember her bloody name. She does somewhat confirm and deny this. She kind of gives us the more perfect story. Basically works out like this. On some Warframes, the Primes were the originals, but a lot of them had to earn the place of Primes, so a lot of them started off as the base models and then worked their way up to being Prime, or the Prime Vanguard as they call them. So the Orkin pretty much had to christen the Primes, each of them. And so Caliban is weird. Why do I say that? Because Caliban's OG story, as told to us in actually the Old War, because that's when he gets introduced, and he's kind of the Warframe that gets put alongside that as the expansion Warframe. He apparently was a creation made by Era. Era is the brother of Lotus, who, again, I can't get too much into the lore, but pretty much he's a sentient. And he pretty much took this and basically a sentience version of a Warframe. Pretty much a sentient looked at a Warframe and said, we can do that too, and that's how Caliban came to be. So yeah, we assumed that that's how Caliban came to be. Why is this important? Well, because like I said, if the Warframes had to all be christened by the Orkin to be made primes, obviously the Orkin would never christen a sentient-made Warframe, or an attempt at one, to be made into a prime. And so the prime version of Caliban was always kind of a question mark. They actually, I think, skipped over him when they were making their Prime versions, because they usually go by, I believe, release schedule, but they skipped over him, and they went to Sevagoth instead. Kind of ticked me off, because I like Caliban as a concept, even though I'm told that he's a bit of a weird one to play. But anyways, so all of this concludes with the idea that Caliban Prime actually might have been made by us, alongside the Sentients, over in Tau. So, first ever Prime confirmed that also we had a hand in the creation. Which, does that mean DE is giving us him? First ever Prime we're given?
Who knows?
Who am I kidding? Probably not. Probably not. It's going to be the first Prime that was tied directly to us. But let's be honest, DE's probably not giving us Caliban Prime, even if he is part of our direct history. But anyways. Interestingly enough, on the topic of Primes, in the actual trailer, which you can see online, which is the old piece gameplay demo, it actually opens up with, of all things, Excalibur Prime. You know, that thing they gave away way back in the day for Founders Pack members, which people have been begging them to give ever since. They kind of conceded midway in giving us Excalibur Umbra, which, technically speaking, while he is not a Prime, and while his whole story quest is tied in the Sacrifice Quest? I think it's Sacrifice Quest. Been a while since I played it. I won't spoil anything, but suffice to say that I won't go into his history, but let's just say that we do end up getting him. He is given to us, and statistically speaking, on a pure numbers basis, he is better than both Excalibur Base and Excalibur Prime. So technically that is DE, or was DE, semi-conceding with us, being like, okay, you want a better version of Excalibur, here's Umbra. It's not Prime, but, it's better numerically, so... He's not the same, but he's still better numerically than both of them, so And I'm told most people who play Excalibur just play Umbra as a result anyway, and then throw the skin of Prime on top of him, because you can do that with Warframe, but whatever. But yeah, we do actually see an opening shot that sees the operator wielding Excalibur Prime. Again, does this mean they'll finally concede and give us at least the option to have the skin of Excalibur Prime in our inventories, even if we don't get the full-on Warframe? Because like I said, that was still a Founders exclusive for way back in the day. Maybe, maybe not. I like to hope. Copium as hell. We all like to on that one. I don't know. That would be kind of fun if the whole business of us going to Tau is us getting the ability to at least wear the skin of Excalibur Prime, because let's be honest, as I said before, a lot of people who play Excalibur, as far as I'm told, do play Umbra because he's statistically better, but still slap the skin of Prime on top of him, because While Prime may not be as numerically powerful as he used to be, he does still look the best between all of them. I mean, he's got a key, like the whole Orokin key shoved in his face, which that's cool. Plus, he's got white, which I don't know. It looks cool. But anyways, so yeah, that's my Excalibur Prime rant done. Back onto the actual notes itself. Yeah, we actually do get to see that again. We had friends that we had a sentient friend. We had a sentient friend who, interestingly enough, was something of a healer. Again, all of this is revealed to us in the Old War trailer and subsequently the Old War teaser. Looks like they were a healer of some kind, honestly. I won't get too much into the trailer because I could probably spend this whole video expounding on that trailer. But I'll just kind of end off with the fact, well, I'll go into the end by saying that it almost looks like that we work together alongside our friend, kind of with us being the warrior and them being the healer, because we do see them being able to, like, heal sentients and fix them, so to speak. Which is interesting. Like I said, maybe that's kind of a interesting relationship we had with a sentient that was our close friend. Interesting to see how that plays out. I'm definitely sure that's going to be a thing going into the whole Tau era of things, which is still a part of the Void War, which the Man in the Wall is going to be messing around somewhere. I don't know how.
They're gonna
Don't
be
want to know
playing
how.
here.
Yeah, the Eldritch God that we've made a deal with is probably going to be playing in somewhere. I don't know how. I kind of don't want to know how. So, yeah. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how that relationship panned out. I mean, I'm told we're going to a more dark era of Warframe, so $10 to a nickel says probably not good. But yeah, that'll be interesting. On the topic of teasers, let's move away from that because, like I said, I could expound on that all day and go into what else we saw. We saw another teaser for what is referred to as the Devil's Triad. This, to make a long story short, reveals 2, possibly 3 new proto frames we're getting that, as far as we tell, are not tied directly to 1999, but are definitely proto frames. We see a proto version of Harrow, of Wisp, and a Devil Warframe, which is confirmed to be a Warframe that is on the cards. It's not the next Warframe, but it is like, I think, the next Warframe. I think, if I'm getting my mental things right. Apparently, he was also the last Warframe worked on by a longtime DE dev who did a lot of the OG Warframes that are in the game right now before he passed away. I cannot remember his name. But yeah, this was the last thing he worked on, which is interesting. Like I said, it definitely is a really cool design. I can definitely see why a lot of the Warframes he did work on, which again I cannot remember. He worked on a lot of the old ones, I believe, were so like at least thematic, I suppose you could say, thematically loved because they're just so cool. A Devil Warframe.
Yes.
Why is this interesting? Because we also have an Angel Warframe officially in the game with Jade. So I just love the idea of people running Jade and unnamed Devil Warframe, we don't know the name, together and just having like an Angel Devil duo. Come on, there's something here, like I said. On the topic of the proto frames, interesting choice. We see Harrow as kind of like a priest, seems to be a priest-like Warframe. Entradi plays in this trailer. It's again the old piece Devil's Triad reveal, if you want to see that. Harrow does make sense to be almost like a priest because Harrow himself does have that priest aesthetic to him. Kind of like a masochistic priest, but a priest nonetheless. Wisp is the weird one because Wisp seems to be playing off as a proto-frame nun. I don't get it either. I mean, it makes sense, right? We got the devil, the priest, and the angel. There's a joke in here somewhere. Or not the devil, the priest, and the angel. The devil, the priest, and the nun. There's a joke in there somewhere. But like I said, Wisp doesn't, like, thematically at least, is interesting. I mean, they're going with the Devil's Triad, so yeah, sure, slap Wisp on as a nun. People are sometimes saying that maybe just Entradi just gave the nun the Wisp one just because why not? I guess thematics are out the window at this point. I don't know. The one who's supposed to be the Nature Wisp and the Sun Woman is a nun. Just get over it. I don't know. I don't know what to say here.
I don't know what to tell you there, buddy.
I don't know what to say, but they look cool. And apparently there's going to be 3 new proto frames coming to the game, which have been confirmed to be romanceable, so you can romance a priest. Again, there's a joke in there somewhere, but we have not seen the third one. Again, the third one might be the Devil frame. We will see. But yeah, that's kind of where we are in terms of reveals. Andrade, like I said, plays in that trailer briefly where he goes, I think it's Zata something or other, can the Orokin be forgiven? Which goes into, like I said, the priest and the devil, which again thematically makes sense if you know a bit of Christian references or religious references.
If you know, you know.
What's the yeah, if you know your kind of Judaic religious references, you kind of get that joke. Uh, reference joke? I don't know. But yeah, you get it. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. Also, to cap everything off, we have a song that comes with the old piece. Lullaby of the Manifold, which that's an interesting name and a half. Doesn't imply anything, I'm sure. Um, Sung by our again friend, who, on a side point, I just want to say this, is sung by a female. It sounds like a female, but apparently he's male. The sentients are weird. I don't care at this point. I only make that distinction because it just, I don't know, feels like there's a distinction to make there. Call me weird for saying it, I don't care, but it just feels like, I don't know. Anyways, that song has also been uploaded to Warframe's official YouTube, was also played in the concert as well, live, by the actress herself. Actress? Voice actress? Songstress? I don't know. Might be sung by her, but the character might be voiced by someone else. Maybe? I don't know. We still don't know too much. So yeah, beautiful song, really good. Seems to be a healing song too, which again kind of speaks to the healer that this character seems to be because we see them singing to sentients and it fixes them. How? I don't know. Sentient biology is weird. But yeah, so I can, like I said, definitely see the idea of the sentient friend of ours. I think his name is Arlen, being the healer between the two of us and us being the warrior. Put a healer and a warrior together on the battlefield. That I'm told from D&D is a very good combination. So yeah. But yeah, so all of that comes together with us going to Tau, us eventually getting to Tau, getting 3 new Warframes, getting sentience, us having a prime tied to our history. Just a bunch of things got to pierce in this TennoCon. Honestly, I've probably been raving for longer than I should have. I'm, 21 minutes? Dear God. I'm just going to end off here and just say it was an absolutely great performance.
It was a blast.
I want to. I don't know why my brain wants to say you made a Jimmy Neutron reference. I don't know why when you said
Got
that.
a blast.
But yeah, it was a great performance. Great TennoCon. Bunch of great reveals. Like I said, Soulframe was just nuts. Really powerful cutscene there. Almost sad that I didn't actually go to them for autographs. Not because I want their autographs. I have most of the dev team already. It's just they were giving out the poster that is revealed in the key art that's in the trailer for Soulframe. You can actually see if you go to the Soulframe one, it shows the trailer. They were giving out that poster, gorgeous poster. Again, very powerful, very emotional, and then the Warframe one just made my lore brain fire on all cylinders, and now I'm ranting insanely about it. So, you can probably tell.
He liked it. He liked it.
He liked it. He liked it. Nick confirmed. Nick approval. Nick approved. So yeah, that's where we are with Warframe. That's where we are with TennoCon 2025. Let me know in the comment section. Were you there? Were you enjoyed it? Maybe I spoke to you and I didn't even notice. Let me know in the comment section. It helps out the algorithm, and I'm just genuinely curious to get as many people's reaction to this because you probably can guess what mine was by just listening to this now 23-minute rant.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Have a good one. Actually, let me throw it over, Justin. I have not thrown it over to you. What do you think?
What do I think?
You have not seen any of this, so I'm
interesting question.
I'm just realizing I'm not showing you any of this stuff, so this is a probably awkward question.
This is an awkward question indeed, but I would say, from what you have said, it definitely does sound like Warframe is going to be bringing in some content that, like, for one dev that has been working on it for a very long time. That seems like that'll be interesting for players of long-time Warframe fans, and I would say it would probably be worth going and getting into, because if long-time Warframe fans are very big fans of like what that one creator has been making for the game, I have a feeling it's probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Even if it is just the Warframe, and it was the last one he made before he unfortunately passed away, it does, like I said, we have an angel, now we have a devil. And the angel one that when we got was also the wife of Stalker and was pregnant. So that happened. Yes. Can only imagine what'll come with the devil Warframe. What baggage will come with that one? Dear Lord. If that's what the angel does in our pastime, Lord knows what the devil does.
Yes.
So yeah. Again, a religious joke in there somewhere. Again, I'm gonna love to see where this goes in. Let us know in the comment section. Overall, great TennoCon, and yeah, see you all next week. Oh, final bit of housekeeping before we go. It'll just be me for the next few weeks because Justin will officially be going away this week. Yes.
Around this week, yes.
Around this week, so it will just be me for the next few videos. You won't hear from him at all.
You might.
I want to say
maybe not. It depends.
Maybe not. Again, we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, if you just hear me for the next few videos, just know that that's where it is. And if you see a slight dip in editing quality as well, I won't confirm or deny anything. But anyways.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, don't worry about it. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all had a blast at TennoCon. If you were there online, if you were there in person, doesn't matter. Let's all get together as a big community and say, huzzah, DE, you did it again. And yeah, see you all next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.